In tribal times, we evolved to have deeper set eyes because we were getting punched in the face so much.
Cool.
So people with deeper set eyes, ancestors probably were assholes that got punched in the face all the time, or were dumb in the way that they strategized.
Well, she's coming from this Mongolian fucking Ottoman Empire shit.
And her high-ass
savages.
Cheekbones are because her ancestors got punched in the face
They
so
sure
much.
as fuck did, yeah. And mine sat around and smoked and drank coffee.
Yours were just in a hammock doing a siesta.
Although I guess you could say that some of them were maybe savages in their own right, but they're lazy, like conquistadors, you know, like showed up with 80 people and the flu, and they just knocked out a whole fucking village.
But wouldn't you argue that people that are more relaxed by nature, or that, you know, French and Spanish who take all of August off and they have siestas and they go home early and
they sure as fuck do.
But shouldn't they have less stress and therefore live longer?
I would think so.
Or they drink more or smoke
definitely
more.
drink. They chill harder. I mean, it's just I just know what I'm looking at. I've seen photos and I've met people in my family. I'm like, I'm going to die quickly. I just know it. I just know it.
No, you're not.
I know it's going to be bad.
You have avoided death at least 6 times in the last year, so I won't hear it.
Yeah, and plus you already said I'm looking good, right? You said I'm.
Here's the thing.
I'm hot. Was your?
I want to be really clear now that Christina's not around.
She's not around.
Because I know she's very threatened by me.
Listen, go for it.
And by the way, I am also wearing your husband's shirt.
Yes,
I'm wearing his merch, not yours. So now you know whose side I'm on and what my plan is to destroy your marriage. She'd probably be psyched, frankly. This guy thinks fences cost $250. I need to build this show. So I would like to just wrap up the. Here's the thing that annoys me about the belly button. There's been there was a caller that said that when they put their finger in their belly button, they climaxed very intensely.
And then someone else called and said that happens to me too.
Well, I was so bummed because of course I put my finger in my belly button like immediately, and it does it does feel weird.
Like, you had never done that before?
I mean, I'd like to clean like lint out or, you know, something like that. But no, I hadn't molested my belly button before. And Don't
you feel like a little bit of a sexual thing
it does
if you do
go
it?
to your pelvis. Like it is connected somehow. That feels wrong to me. It feels morally wrong.
Well, you know, it's not something I've ever done, but I did like try it when she said that.
But you've just I just feel there are nerve endings that are very raw. I can't explain
People are fucking bored, Whitney.
So bad.
I do feel like that. I was exaggerating. Is that you will go to a place and you will not really participate in the moment you're in because you're so busy in your head coming up with a rant about it. Like I remember when you came to Thanksgiving, you were just sitting in the corner watching. You do not participate. You don't really want to talk to anybody.
Well, Thanksgiving was a horribly mismanaged nightmare. You were not given entertaining in any real way. It was stressful for the guests. It was odd. You were berating some guy, asking him how much he owed in taxes.
Jim Jeffries walked in with his kid and wife and like didn't even sit down. He
Nobody
just
knew
turned
what
around.
was going on. It was disconcerting for many of us, and I was just processing that moment of sheer insanity.
Well, 'cause
you were doing like Kegels with Instagram influencers. Meanwhile, Jim Jeffries thought this was a family event. Like, no one knew what was going on.
But also, there was so much amazing food there. And I think I haven't, as an adult, hosted parties that have expensive food and no one's eating it. And
they're drug addicts. Your friends are drug addicts, so they're not eating it because they're on cocaine, so they don't need to eat.
I spent so much time being like, are you going to eat this?
There were people in the party putting stuffing up their nose because they had no idea how to eat through their mouth. I'm just saying. Yeah, your friends were drinking like CBD milkshakes, and
I feel like watching that, I was like, oh, this is when podcasting started.
Oh, that silliness. Like
when he was the star.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? He's cut out for some people aren't.
You know, I came out as non-binary on one of those, and this was before it was like even in the zeitgeist.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had just learned. It was like 2015. You know what I mean? Like it was just like a phrase no one even knew really. Unless you were really dialed in.
Still, most people.
Yeah, and so I was on this. I think it was in Jacksonville. I was on this morning show, and it was like a real Karen, you know, as the host. And she was like, She goes, you have a big announcement? I go, yeah, you know. I go, last year, you know, I came out as like bisexual, and now I'm coming out as non-binary. And she was like, oh, okay. And you could see her look off screen, and she's like, what's that all about? And then I start to go like, I'm astral gender, like meaning like from space, and then she just wrapped the segment up, and she was like, all right, and like she just walked off, and then the club guy was like, what happened? I go, I don't know.
Well, here's the thing.
But she called the car. So we're leaving, and she was like, I hear her talking to the guy. She's like, what was that? He is weird. And I'm sitting there in the car, just like, I'm ear to ear. I'm like, that was the most fun I've ever had doing morning radio or
if
TV.
anyone ever accuses you of being phobic, you have to go, in 2015, I was leading the charge.
I was one of the first non-binary
setting an example, and I was
people.
hate crimed.
Yeah, I was. She abused me.
I actually was non-binary, but I gave it up.
Yeah, now
because I was so hurt.
Now people will be like, "Oh, that's." But this was, like,
Good after you're on TikTok.
I don't go on it because
Is it edifying?
I don't like watching lazy cheerleading. So number one, every time I go on there, it feels like girls that are very young in swimsuits dancing, and I feel like I'm gonna lose my kid in a custody battle in 10 years if that's on my search.
No, the worst is like people who are in their mid 50s or like famous celebrities who are like now trying to do like dancing videos.
It makes me uncomfortable when I see like a celebrity with their hair and then they bend it and it's like
in their facial mask and like,
because I know how long it takes to make something that's 10 seconds on TikTok takes like 4 hours.
Ew, really?
Oh, it takes so long to get something where someone is like has no makeup on and then they hit their head on the camera and then they come back and they have makeup on. That takes like 4 hours. Remember we tried to shoot one of those ones with Benton? Because you have to then be in 2 hours of hair and makeup and then you have to hit it in the same spot. It's like why I don't like guys that are really in shape. Even if your body looks good, all I can do is picture you in the gym for 3 hours. And it makes,
I know. I feel the same way.
I can't separate the product from how long and how desperate. And,
totally. That's like less time you've been reading books.
Correct.
Because it's like a 2 hours. It's leg day.
If this took 10 seconds, I'm like, okay, that's cool. I get it. But if I'm like, I know how much production time this took and I now feel sad for you.
By the way, nothing against spending your time on TikTok. It's just not for me.
It's what
and
we
then
used
I
to
just
do.
feel like my dad, everyone I know from like a 8-year-old to a 75-year-old is addicted to their phone.
Here's what I'll say. TikTok, for the most part, is what when we were teenagers, we did that in the mirror. It was like you're dancing with your hairbrush and you're like making up a dance to a certain a salt and pepper song. Like that was not to be recorded. That was just like us being silly.
That was not to be documented for
no public consumption. Okay, so to me,
posterity.
The dancing in front of like a laundry basket on your bed, like in a bra and like little shorts, like I feel like I don't know how old anyone is, and it feels very sexual to me. Maybe that's just my algorithm.
Whitney, I looked at your Instagram the other day, and you had a picture of your fucking vagina, your bald vagina. First of all. Mm-hmm. You take the hair off the top of your vagina. I did that once. I pulled my toe. It hurt so bad. It hurt so bad. She took it off the top, and my whole body shot. I couldn't walk for.
He thinks that he is in the second string militia for the government.
Oh.
He's on.
Oh, but I like that guy. That's your armadillo guy.
Yeah.
I thought it was some blue-haired person who's like, I want to shine.
No, he has.
Tell your friends to stop coming here. I have a one-man show. One person
is
show.
Someone that it's that body type that's just like a giant pot belly, like you can't see your feet. He believes that the government, when we go to war, is gonna call him in as the reserves.
That's less of a crazy belief than the idea that Austin, Texas. Is going to be the next big thing.
Can I tell you, there used to be, how
Miami and Austin, a bunch of criminals moved to Miami. It's like...
That's your algorithm. No one ever said that. Like, no one's been saying...
Everyone is saying it. No, you don't read...
Two or three...
It is literally the topic of conversation for the last several months.
By the way,
I've not invented this.
I do not follow comedians that are looking for confirmation bias of the bad choice they already made. Like, dude, this is the shit. This is the shit. Like, I'm like, okay, like, let me...
To live like a person here, you have to have $40 million.
To live like the kind of life that you need, which is, by the way...
Because here's what I would do with that money.
But we're staying in a place.
Kill everyone in Austin.
We're staying
and
in a place.
never have to see anyone. I'm not even talking about buying a mansion. I mean, that $40 million I could invest it in a chemical weapon and decimate the entire city, and then I might enjoy it. Start building it up again, piece by piece.
But here's the problem with you: is that you are so committed to being.
So I want to ask if you get to vacation. I want to ask about going from being a comedian to a boss of many, many people and producer of things is
And we
not.
got to talk about acting. We have to still talk about how hot I am.
And Blake and how hot you are. I was watching your mom's house from, I think like a week ago, maybe. It was like a week ago episode. I can't remember who was on. And I was like, you look amazing. I was like, I've always thought you were hot. I have to say this and sexually harass you because it's our turn.
Yeah.
And to make you uncomfortable.
Thank you.
And
Go
also,
for
I'm over this whole thing where guys like are like, well, I'm just schlubby and I'm just this. And I'm like, dude, it's the hottest thing ever.
I'm schlubby. Yes, I get it.
It's
I'm
not
the
schlubby, but
guy.
why do we keep like? I'm just curious why we keep saying that. Like I had, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
people talk about how hot you are, and I'm gonna say it.
Oh, really? They talk
Yes.
about it? Oh, really?
Yes.
I've yet to hear these comments.
I
but
know.
I'm here for
because
them.
comedians, we talk shit
Yeah.
to each other's faces and nice
Yeah.
behind our backs.
That is so true.